Hey guys, welcome back to Modeling Manhood. Today we're going to be talking about the Tennessee tree. And my wife's here to fill in the pieces because this was one of those moments in our marriage where probably the communication was definitely lacking. So you want to lay the background for the story?
We went to visit my brother in Tennessee. And right before we left, like the day before we were supposed to leave, our car lost its power steering. So we were going to cancel the trip, and then my older brother was like, "No, take our van. It's big enough. You guys can all go." So we had a loaned vehicle at the time. So we made it all the way there. Had a fun time. Usually our trips out there are kind of short, just a couple of days, and
We have a big family, so
yeah,
our presence is sometimes overwhelming. Yeah.
so we don't overstay our welcome. And so we had been there for a couple days, and the one night all the kids wanted to go in the hot tub. Well, we didn't realize that one of our kids doesn't do well with temperature like that, and
He overcooked.
We at the time we didn't know why he got sick. Now we do know why he got sick, but he was throwing up. And so we're 11 hours away. Our kid is sick. We've got a borrowed vehicle, and we are having to travel all the way back home 11 hours, not knowing what he's going to do in this vehicle. And so I'm packing. I'm like trying to get everybody in the car,
And
like,
while you're packing, I decide that I want to bring a tree home with me to plant in the yard at home. Probably one of those moments that I'm gonna have to live with forever. Not the best decision. So I'm like digging out this tree and like carrying it and like putting it in the van, and we're like getting ready to go.
and I am silent, ticked off, won't give him eye contact. Like I needed help getting the kids in the car. At this point, we didn't have our youngest, so we had like a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 6-year-old. So like I'm needing help, and my brother is laughing. He is just a comical poke fun at the moments that are tense.
He's like, "You're gonna remember this.
You're gonna remember this tree forever. It's gonna be like the most amazing tree you've ever had." I'm like, I hope it dies.
And we brought it home. We planted it in the front yard. It did well for a couple of years, and then
It really never did well. It was on top of an anthill and just croaked immediately. I think it didn't even last 2 years.
We had to use the pickup truck to pull it out. So it did take some roots, but it just definitely was. It wasn't meant to come home with us. We should have left it there.
It was a reminder beacon of like a tough time that I was abandoned.
Yeah.
Take the care of the kids.
I'm sorry
sick
if I've never apologized.
Oh, it's okay. It's just my brother still brings it up to this day. Like,
oh, how's
don't
the
you miss
Tennessee
my
tree?
tree? And I'm like, never missed it. Didn't miss it at all.
So we're gonna be in Matthew today. We're gonna be in Mark today. So you got me thinking about the tree and feeling bad. So Mark chapter 11, and we're gonna jump around starting in verse 12. Jesus curses the fig tree, and I just want you guys thinking about the Tennessee tree while I'm saying that. On the following day, when they came from Bethany, he was hungry, and seeing in the distance a fig tree and leaf, he went to see if he could find anything on it. When he came to it, he found nothing but leaves, for it was not in the season of figs. And he said to the tree, "May no one ever eat fruit from you again." And his disciples heard this. And it's kind of, I always thought it was kind of weird that Jesus was going to a tree like out of season, expecting to find fruit from it. And I don't know what the trees are going to be like in heaven. Maybe you can just go and get fruit like year round from it. But I think that it's interesting that it was in leaf but not in fruit. And I think the disciples are like, "Really, Jesus? You just cursed this tree? It's not even the right season for it to be growing." And right after this, Jesus goes into the temple. He came to Jerusalem, and he entered the temple and began to drive out those which sold and those who bought in the temple. And he overturned the tables of the money changers and the seats of those who sold pigeons. I'm sure you wanted to like throw me out and kind of clean house on me that day too.
I didn't know that's where you're going with that, but yeah, I did probably feel that way.
And so it goes on there. And in the evening, verse 19, they went out from the city, and he would have returned to Bethany. And picking up in verse 20 here in Mark 11. As they passed in the morning, so this is the next morning, they're heading back into Jerusalem. The disciples saw the fig tree withered away to its roots. And Peter remembered and said to him, "Rabbi, look, the fig tree that you cursed has withered. And Jesus answered them, the disciples, have faith in God. Truly I say to you, whoever says to this mountain, be taken up and thrown into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that which he says will come to pass, it will be done for him. Therefore I tell you, whatsoever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. Whenever you stand praying, forgive. And if you have anything against anyone, so that your Father also who is in heaven may forgive you your trespasses. Got any thoughts on that?
I was just thinking when you said it was out of season and he cursed it, maybe that was like a picture, and I don't know, this is just me thinking, but maybe that was a picture of like, we don't have an in season and out of season when we're supposed to be disciples of Christ. We're supposed to be called that all the time, on our good days and our bad days, when we're feeling great, when we're down in the dumps. Like, we're supposed to be bearing fruit for him all year long, all the time, no matter what we're feeling. But it is an interesting thing that he cursed a tree that wasn't bearing in the season.
And one thought that I was thinking of is when Jesus sees us, when we get to heaven or when we stand before him someday, is he going to welcome us in, or are we going to be fruitless in this lifetime? And he's going to cast us away and curse us and send us to hell forever. So please be fruitful, guys. And I don't know, the Tennessee tree, definitely one of those things that makes me think of this fig tree that was cursed, because I think that tree that we brought back was definitely bound for destruction. We would have been better off leaving it there. And probably agriculturally, who knows what things I was violating by bringing things over state lines too, but who knows?
I think he had a good heart for it. We had gone on a ride around the property, and there was these trees that he really, really liked. And my brother's like, you should just take one home. And so before our son got sick, that was the idea. But when he got sick and we're like, okay, we're going to pack up the car and head home, it was just maybe not the best time to dig up a tree.
Timing.
But yeah.
So thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for joining us today. Do you want to do the closing today?
Remember to mirror your maker and journey with Jesus each day.
See you guys tomorrow.